And tonight on the Lost and Down podcast, today we have, I would argue, potentially the number one viewer of the show, listener since day one, A1 since day one, as some people say. Close friend of the show, close friend of yours truly right here. Even though it says Wally Lukashenski, it's Steve, if you can't tell. I have one Detroit Lions homer, Mr. Kyle Butson. Butson, cheers to you, brother. I know we were talking a little bit off. You're off to Florida here in 3 weeks, but thank you so much for bringing the time to shoot the shit with me here a little bit, bud.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this all week. It's been the highlight of my day, so I'm excited to talk football. We're kind of in that lull in sports right now. I know other than the Stanley Cup finals where I'm just itching for some pigskin.
Yeah, no, I need it bad. It's now the NBA finals are done. Even hockey, I'm not even finding myself too entertained by. And if you're seriously someone out there is going to sit here and be entertained by baseball for the next 6 months, Garrett Blair, let's be real here. I think that you're an absolute psychopath. So I cannot wait.
I am kind of a baseball junkie. It's just tough because the Tigers are maybe the worst offense in baseball. And like most other Detroit teams for our lifetime, just pathetic.
And that's why we brought you here. There's not too many Lions fans that you come across, even living what you're from Toledo, you're very close, but even I know a lot of Toledo people that stray away from trying to be a Lions fan. Now, you obviously got yourself, you got Brock Chamberlain, but that leads us great into the first question. 3 division titles in the modern era. They haven't had any since we were born, essentially, in 93. It was the last time they had one. They've won 1 playoff game since 57. Now, can you put into words what it's like being a Detroit Lion fan?
No. I mean, in that time span, most NFL fans have seen their teams rise to some sort of success. I will bring one thing up, though. In 2014, the Lions played the Cowboys in the wild card game.
Always has to be brought up. I love it.
Yeah. Brandon Pettigrew was pretty severely pass interfered with late in the game with the Lions up. Flag was thrown. Pass interference was called. Des Bryant ran on the field without his helmet on, was not penalized for it. And then they proceeded, after making the call, to pick it up. Mind you, this was before they did any review or anything like that. I think it might be the only time in history that they picked a flag up after making the announcement, after the confirmation. And we did go on to lose that game. I believe I was asked to leave a dinner at the time when I was watching that live because I was losing my shit so much.
Well, what type of dinner was it? Were you like with the family? Were you with the girlfriend's family at the time? Was it like?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Buca de Beppo in Florida. Yeah.
I think that play right there, I mean, that was going on. This is going to be what, the 9th season since then. I will say, even though we like to, tussle a little bit, you being a Lions, myself a Packers fan, we got your back that next game because for you guys that don't have the calendar, I'm pretty sure the following game was the Des Bryant. Was it a catch? Was it not?
Oh, yeah,
a catch
it was.
Game?
It was. I'm pretty sure it was because it was like back to back.
So we got your back on that, and that was just a domino effect of just.
Yeah, I'll put my
horrible play calling.
I'll put my tinfoil hat on. I think that the league wanted the Cowboys to win that one. I don't know. No other explanation.
There hasn't been too much Cowboy love since that game. I'm just saying. Even with Dak Prescott, what they're doing now, everyone's kind of on the downslope of, is this really America's team? It's been 30 plus, going on 40 years since they've even sniffed the Super Bowl.
They've done such a great job in the last 10 years promoting the talent on those teams because I've even bought into the Cowboys should be pretty freaking good, and they just haven't been.
What you stated was something that I really liked is you've seen a lot of the people have the lulls of the franchise going up and down. They're winning, they're losing. You haven't really seen much. Now, we have a lot of Browns fans here. And with the Bills now, they were kind of that team as well, but they're turning into that title threat. And the Browns are going through the Deshaun Watson debacle. But all of a sudden, the Detroit Lions have been the de facto lovable loser of the league. Is that something that you're more proud of or maybe more ashamed of or just hate even having the title and conversation about it?
I've just kind of been waiting my turn. So Abby and I have been, you guys have been great. Your support for Abby has been awesome. She's a huge fan of the show.
AbbyTurnerPhoto.com. Remember, go check out Abby Turner Creative.
There it is. But when we started dating, it was evident right off the rip that I was a football junkie, and she was cool with it because she was a big Ohio State fan. She's like, "Yeah, I'll get into the NFL." And she wanted to pick her team, and I couldn't swing her to pick the Lions, and she actually picked the Bills. She has family that's from Buffalo. The Beeline and Borski side of the family is from Buffalo, so she's like, I'm going to be a Bills fan. Well, look what's happened to that franchise in the last 4 years. So that's what hurts the most, I think, is watching her just have, happiness on Sundays when I do not.
You're gonna have a few. You're gonna have a few. Now, obviously, Dan Campbell comes in promising kneecaps in his first season. I think that he delivered. I think Wally can back that as well. The team record may have not proven that, but they were extremely competitive. You can feel the energy from week one when they had that huge comeback against the San Francisco 49ers. Super late in that game, obviously ended with the loss. But what is the expectation for Dan Campbell and the Lions this year? Like you said, you got the tinfoil hat on.
I would like to see us be a 500 team. I think that's a fair expectation. I think there's no reason why we can't be above 500. I worry a little bit about our offensive play calling. Dan Campbell actually stripped Anthony Lynn of his play calling duties at the end of the year last year after we got absolutely waxed by the Eagles. I think it was before the bye week, like 44-6 or something.
I lost a very big bet on that. I remember because I was with the Lions just being the team, the cover team. Good teams win, great teams cover.
I mean, they were. They were because they played really hard. And it was up until, and again, shout out Abby, for Christmas, she took me, sat fourth row, maybe third or fourth row to that Cardinals game, and we beat the brakes off them and basically ruined their season. Right? They just spun out after that. And then I think after that we went on to be 0-3-1. But granted, we sat Goff, we had injuries all over the place. But it didn't feel like the tank was really on, and it really wasn't because we didn't end up with the first pick. Expectations, I think it really matters how healthy we stay. Last year we lost Ragnow, that's an all-pro center. Taylor Decker struggles to stay healthy. DeAndre Swift, I think, is one of the most underrated running backs in the league as far as running between the tackles and his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And I was going to get into it a little bit later, but we got some serious playmakers on the outside. Defense, we'll see. On top of, after drafting Aiden and then JMO, we took all defense except for I think we took a tight end in the mid rounds. I think the kid out of Iowa. So the focus to build the defense is there. I think there is some confidence in that offense. We just got to stay healthy and figure out who's calling those plays.
And like you said, you can add Penei Sewell to that list of offensive linemen to arguably make them a top 5 unit in the NFL heading into the year. Granted, with the injuries and what may happen, but you got TJ Hawkinson who's proven himself to be an NFL tight end. You have a great O-line. You got a great, not only running back in DeAndre Swift, but my guy, Jamal Williams, as well, is not too bad as that second fiddle.
Love him. He's awesome, isn't he?
He's a goon. He's just a good energy guy. He's a good guy to have in the locker room.
Good for the locker room.
And he's great to have on fantasy if DeAndre Swift is hurt.
Yeah, well, I tried that last year. I always try and milk a couple Lions guys, but it never plays my favorite. But I won't sway for him.
I know. I was trying to trade for him. You would never give him to me.
But I will say I got some statistics to throw at you regarding our offense that I've been sitting on. So you talked about our offensive line, right? Ragnow is an all-pro guy. Decker's he's a high-tier left tackle. Penei Sewell, after week 5 or 6, I think, was the number 2 Pro Football Focus rated tackle in the league. Number 2 as a rookie. Who else was number 2 at their position at Pro Football Focus as rookies? Amon-Ra St. Brown behind Jamar Chase.
Okay.
He had a slow start to the season, but he finished just short of 1,000 yards. He's got like a 95% catch guy. I think he can surprise some people. We got Josh Reynolds and DJ
Yep.
Chark. Those are both 6'3" guys. We got some size on the outside now. And hopefully a healthy JMO, we can have some pretty serious firepower as far as our offensive skill positions go.
No, absolutely. And like you said, St. Brown, he was a stud. And you're putting those people around him. You got Josh Reynolds, who, for those of you who don't know, spent some time with LA with Jared Goff, his first time around there. So yeah, they have a little bit of chemistry that they have, and they have the pieces. And it all starts with a great old line that's going to be able to block for Goff. Give that guy time, because he has a little bit of problems getting that ball out of his hand. Let's at least give him some time. So maybe that extra second is going to result in touchdowns more than interceptions. Now on the defensive side of the ball, like you said, he got Aiden Hudson at 2. He moved up with a division rival just to get Jameis Williams at 12 as well. But with Hutch, were you hoping that maybe you got Trayvon Walker instead and he was going to fall, or were you just rooting for Hutch the whole time as the hometown guy, even though he went to Michigan?
So
this is a pro Buckeye podcast.
That's where we leave, or at least start off, is, as a purebred Buckeye, it kills me to think that I got to cheer for this guy. Do I think Trayvon Walker maybe has more pure talent today? Absolutely. But do I think Aiden Hutchinson's doing the right things? He's allegedly still staying at home with his parents. He's he's been in the facility every single day, and he really is a Dan Campbell guy. The NFL really is a big culture organization, and I think you got to have guys like that, the future of the organization, who buy in and promote. So, I bite my tongue a little bit, and I think it might have been the right thing. I don't know if you saw the video of Dan Campbell getting all pumped up when they took Trayvon Walker at 1. So, you gotta believe he knows what he's doing. So
I think you said it best right there. That's a Dan Campbell player. And right now that's what you need. You need someone to build into the organization, and someone who's that hometown guy. That's going to only make them work harder than having a Dan Campbell who's going to mess with, have him, already kind of riding him. Now I know we kind of alluded to this with, Goff has some pieces around him. I do want to ask you this, because I know you've listened to previous episodes. I know Wally has a lot of pressure with Zach Wilson and said this is a make or break year for him. Do you think that there's more pressure on Jared Goff to perform with his current roster and what he has over Zach Wilson, or who do you think is under more pressure, I should say?
I think if Jared Goff has a bad year, he can still end up with a few years in the NFL as a backup, just not with the Lions. I think Zach Wilson's really on the hot seat, which I don't know if is fair, because I don't know if Zach Wilson has, the pieces surrounding him that Jared Goff does. That's why I think it's so much pressure on Goff, just because we do have I'm pretty sure a top 5 offensive line, all these young skill players, Hawk, Swift, and all the receivers we just talked about. So I think the expectation is for Goff, especially as a veteran, right? You got Zach Wilson's been in the league for a couple of years. He's been in a horrible organization. The Lions have really invested in protecting and giving weapons to Goff, so he really has to perform.
I wouldn't shake a stick at who Zach Wilson has to throw to, though. You have a stud in Corey Davis that you signed last offseason. That you had Elijah Moore, top 10 pick. You got your boy Garrett Wilson. Maybe there's a huge question mark there at tight end, but that was always, I think they're both under pressure. But yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Jared Goff has proven himself well enough to fight for a backup position for longevity with his career in the NFL. But I want to stay on the quarterback discussion, because it has to come up. I know we've talked mostly during the offseason or during the season and the offseason around your ex-boyfriend here, Mr. Matt Stafford. Now, he won the Super Bowl in LA first season. Seeing a guy like that, obviously watching him his whole career up into that point, kind of like what he has gone through with the organization. Were you happy for him? Were you kind of salty? What were the feelings when you got to see Matt Stafford?
It was very bittersweet, I'd say. I can't stand LA and New York teams. Like, it doesn't matter the sport. Like, why did it have to be the Rams? That's what hurt me, is I probably would have been happier for him had it been anyone but the Rams. I was also cheering for the Bengals, bet on the Bengals. Uh, Still think that there's some pass interference on that last play.
That seems to be the topic of discussion. That always comes back and bites you in the ass. A pass interference of some sort.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him. I mean, the dude took an absolute beating on some really bad teams. You know, he was playing through like broken ribs and shit on sub 500 teams. A
Yeah.
lot of guys would have just quit. You know, he's a Detroit guy. He carried that Detroit grit, and I don't blame him for not wanting to stick around for a rebuild this late in his career. You know, he's already got the shit kicked out of him. It's time to pass the keys to someone else for the rebuild. I understand.
Now, what about kind of the subtle shot and the very obvious shot that he takes in Detroit in the AT&T commercial?
I like
Every
that
time I see
commercial.
that, I'm like, Butson's just got to be fuming. Like, grab me a beer.
I honestly, I kind of liked the commercial. It gave me a chuckle, a soft smile at first, but then they just played it 10 million times and it got old. Now I despise it.
Yeah, wait till the NFL season when it's still popular, and then it's just still going to drive you crazy.
Unrelated, do you think Baker's still going to have that State Farm push? I mean, obviously
I
they
haven't
can't
seen
do
a
the
lot of
ones
it
about
now.
Baker's house, but
I haven't. I can't remember if he had some in the offseason like last year, but I think that's when the Baker's house started rolling, like you said.
mm,
But maybe there's going to be other ones. But yeah, you can't. I don't know. Maybe Deshaun Watson gets it, or if they're smart, they keep Baker and they make it like Baker's massage parlor, just to kind of throw some shots at Deshaun and the Browns organization, even though they probably are going to end up needing him here sooner rather
yeah,
than later.
I'm just very glad I'm not a Browns fan. You know, when I watch what Baker did to that organization, you know, I'm not a Browns hater, but obviously because we're not in the same division, right? It's not like baseball where you know,
Yeah.
or I guess either way. But my point being, Baker took them out of the trenches, and these people have just thrown him in the trash. It blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm I haven't really been quite the Baker lover as of recent, during the season, but he was in a lose-lose situation with that because he's going to have a target on his back. Yeah, he's the most successful quarterback that they've had in decades.
Right.
But it's either you sit there and don't. It's a lot easier to tell them, oh, you should have gotten surgery, and they were saying that during the season, yes. But you sit there, get the surgery, team goes to shit. Probably don't make the playoffs like they did, and they're like, oh well, Baker's a pussy, he can't do this, or he plays through it. It tries to show the grit, and everyone's like, oh well, he sucks, he's selfish, he shouldn't have done. It's like, okay, well, which one? One or the other, right? So it's a lose-lose situation. I think he's going to look bad regardless, but I think he's gonna get another gig. There's gonna be someone trading after week 4 because of a horrific injury or a bad enough injury, or maybe they're realizing that's not the guy that they need. Maybe he ends up, I don't know, maybe he ends up in Washington because Carson Wentz fucks something up, or they're like, wow, this guy really sucks. Or maybe they do end up in Seattle because Drew Lock's not the guy. If you want to, especially with Seattle hiring that offensive coordinator who's run first, why the hell would you not want to get Baker? That's all he's known in the NFL. That
Right.
guy's going to be able to perfect that, but he's not in a good situation right now.
Is he in a better situation than Deshaun Watson is?
No, he's really setting the precedent of that. He's setting the bar up so high that not a lot of people are going to get that.
I doubt we'll ever see
Now,
it, but I'm very curious to see, you know, with the recent news, how much of that money that he just got signed guaranteed, he's writing checkbooks right back out to these women.
well, he's got a big checkbook, so maybe he's under. If he's a good, obviously he's not really that good of a negotiator. That's kind of why he's in this predicament in the first place. But yeah, he good thing he got all that guaranteed money because you might as well just wire it straight from Cleveland to the women. Do I even make it the middleman of Deshaun? You
Yeah,
don't
they
need
should
that
just be
paper.
writing it. I mean, they were committed to him, so they should just be writing the checks.
Yeah, that we could have a discussion about that for about an hour. I
Yeah,
do
that's
need to ask you this. Couple quick things. Need predictions. I'm getting you out of here. The Thanksgiving unis. Wally is a diehard fan of the Thanksgiving unis. In his quotes, I'm an old man, but I miss the faded blue and the old lion on the uniforms. He's in love with the Thanksgiving Day unis. How great are they? How much do you love them, or are you actually a shadow hater?
I
Closet
love
hater?
I love the Thanksgiving unis. My sneaky favorite unis are the blacks. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
Few years back.
those they had those during like the Caldwell days too,
Yep,
not too long
yep.
ago,
Who I
didn't
think the Lions did dirty. We actually had a decent squad with him at the helm. But yeah, I sneaky like the blacks. I hope they make a comeback, and I'm excited to see because the NFL did lift the one helmet rule, correct? Or was that just in talks? I thought I saw something, but I think that would be great for the league if they would let them at least once or twice a year do some sort of helmet alternate. I think the Lions with their color scheme could definitely do some cool stuff.
I'm surprised we haven't seen an old like I know Green Bay's tried to be like the leatherhead type look where it
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's just actual leather instead of just like the beige color of it or whatever. But those things, oh my God, those Thanksgiving Day unis. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with that. They're crisp. Just the blue, the silver helmet, the solo line on one. I
Yep,
love them. But what are you going to do? You
that's
can't
good
say
stuff.
Barry or Calvin, but who is your favorite Detroit Lion ever? And if you say Matt Stafford, you got to go again.
You're killing me.
I know that that bucket is scarce, but there's
That's
got
what
to
I'm saying.
be.
You're making me pick out of well, let's see. The 0-16 team,
Yeah, are
um
you a big Curtis Painter guy? Or no, that
yeah,
was the Colts. I can't pick between them.
I was a big Darius Slay guy when he was with us.
Yep.
I thought he was the shit. I don't know, but you just said it. It's been tough for me to really latch on to someone without it being a Stafford, a Calvin. Honestly, I can fake that Barry was one of my favorites, but I was so young at the time. I was usually playing
Yeah.
my own football games on Sundays. I didn't really get to watch a lot of that in real time. Um, I don't know. I think my favorite Lions player might be on the team right now. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. That was gonna be my follow up question as well. Is like if you have a guy like one, like who's your favorite guy now, and two, who's one that we should keep our eye on for this season that you think is maybe gonna make that jump. You can't say Swift for that one. I think he's already made that jump. For those who are in tune with football, he's made that jump about the last
I
season and
think
a half.
Swift and Hawk, those are both top. If you're looking at the pedigree of the NFL, those are top tier guys. Um, it's kind of lame to pick an offensive lineman, but I'm excited to see what
Oh,
Penny Sewell's career turns into because he played on the left side a little bit and kind of struggled to start the season because Taylor Decker was hurt. As soon as he flipped back to his natural side on the right side, he was a monster. And we talked about that old line a little bit, and I'll try and keep this brief. But Jonah Jackson, former Ohio State Buckeye, was a Pro Bowler last year. A lot of people didn't recognize that. So we got an All Pro, a number 2 rated offensive lineman, a Pro Bowler, Taylor Decker, and we'll see what happens with Vitae on the other side. But that offensive line should be really fun to watch. I think the person on the hot seat this year is going to be Jeff Okuda, another Buckeye. He's been plagued with injuries his first 2 seasons, and in his small sample size, he hasn't looked great. But he checked all the boxes. It's his 3rd year. Let's see what you can do,
that
kid.
third year lead, baby.
Yep. Let's see what you can do.
Now, before you go, who wins the NFC North? So I'm wish-washy myself on who I think is going to win it.
I mean, I'm big on the Bears. Might be one of the worst teams in the league. Poor Justin Fields, man. They were giving that boy no help.
Nothing.
I think the Vikings, like the Kirk Cut, you're gonna get what you get with the Vikings this year.
The
I'm
greatest
interested
contract negotiator ever,
ever,
Kirk
ever,
Cousins.
ever, 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 ever. We'll see, Dalvin Cook, knee problems, getting later, shelf life of running backs are usually pretty short in the NFL. Like I think he might be on the other side of the hill. Um, I'm interested to see how the Packers do, but I don't see any reason why the Lions can't win the division with a slightly above 500 record. I think that's well within the cards.
No, so are you just going to stick home? Are you taking the Lions to win it?
I mean, I have to, but I think I can justify it.
Well, be a man. Go travel over the Michigan border and put 20 on it. That's
It's
got to be some good odds right now.
it's in my backyard. I'll even throw 20 on it for you.
Okay, we'll do a little split. That'll be a nice that'll be nice some tea to be sipping on after I was just shitting on them all last year about taking the under 4.5. So I'll take that. I'll take
Yeah,
that.
that burned me. That burned me because I drank a little bit of the Kool-Aid last year and I shouldn't have. But this year, I think I can support it.
You never do it the first year. You got to wait till you see, and then you. But yeah, I'm sipping the Kool-Aid with you. I'm. It's topping the drink off right now.
Well, and I imagine we're going to talk Super Bowl here shortly, but I think the NFC as a whole is going to struggle this year. I think it's going to be a sloppy division. I think there's 3, maybe 4 teams in the AFC West that would probably win every division except me, my pick out of the NFC is probably the Rams, right? Like, you spend $10 billion, that's the expectation. Coming out of the AFC, I hope the West is a bloodbath because I don't really like any of those teams.
Oh, it is. The AFC West will be a bloodbath.
Right, yeah.
Bloodbath, other than just the whole conference.
Right. That's what I mean. The whole conference is just, I imagine they're just going to beat the hell out of each other because and I was I was a Chargers fan as a kid. I was a huge LaDainian Tomlinson fan. I just thought the helmet, the dark visor was the coolest thing ever when I was like 11.
Those light blues, baby.
Yep. So, I sneaky cheer for the Chargers to do well, but I think the Bills, this is a very important year for the Bills. It's either kind of make or break for what the next 2 or 3 years for their organization are going to be. Is Josh Allen going to be a great quarterback because he's got the pieces, or are they going to plateau a little bit? So I'm calling Rams Bills this year.
Rams Bills. I like that. I'm toggling between the Rams or the Bucks because I think Rams Bucks Philadelphia can be kind of sneaky good. And I really
you guys were talking about who was talking about Philly last week? Was that Wally screaming about him?
Surprisingly, it was Wally. As much as he throws a lot of hate throughout the entirety of LOD, he threw some love at them and calling them a Super Bowl contender.
That's why
I guess like in the NFC that's a lot easier to say. Because it's an absolute joke. We'll see. I don't want to give Wally too much confidence. With that, that's going to end it. Kyle, get back to work, man. Will you fucking do something for once, man?
I got 2 things.
Please.
$1 million cash, no tax. You can have my leg beneath the knee. $1 million. I'm cheaper than you guys.
$1 million?
$1 million. It's beneath the knee. There's good technology. As long as I'm not getting taxed on it, I'll take $1 million.
That's your biggest thing is not getting taxed, but it's above the knee. It's the knee down. I'm pretty sure.
That's what I mean. It's below the knee. I still got a little stub. I can hop on a prosthetic. I'll be all right.
What's the first thing you're doing with the $1 million?
Moving my condo from West Palm Beach to probably Miami.
Well, then that's all your money. So you should have done $2 million at least.
Nah.
All right. What's your second thing?
Second thing, you guys are fucking haters. Little Caesars is not that bad.
Oh my God. We are not. You waited till the end to bring this shit up?
Yeah, because I listened last week and it pissed. You guys went on for 9 minutes about it. It's like, it's a $5 pizza. It's not that bad.
It's not that good. It's actually not good at all.
I think bang for buck, it's better than Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is trash. Get that shit out of here.
Dude, I don't like either of them, but
I agree with you and your sentiment that all chain pizza is pretty garbage. But I don't think Little Caesars deserves the hate that it gets. When's the last time you had a deep dish from Little Caesars?
I'm not getting a fucking deep
dish. Go get the 5. Or it's like Detroit style. It's Detroit style. It's not even deep dish. It's Detroit style. They got like a $5 lunch combo. You get a little personal pizza.
I worked at Jets for 3 years. I'm not going to go to Little Caesars. I feel like I'm cheating on it. And plus, I can't even eat the Detroit style anymore. Like I physically gag because I ate too much of it in college.
Well, Jets is the best Detroit style pizza that I've ever had. I think that's my favorite kind of pizza. I didn't ruin it for myself.
There you go, Jets. You just got a free live read right there from Kyle Butson himself.
Hey, I'll finish with this. Detroit style pizza, Little Caesars, headquartered in Detroit. Lions are going to make a splash this year, baby. NFC champs. North.
NFC champ.
NFC North.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That's more realistic.